All right, everyone. So I think we'll begin. We'll allow for some other folks to join us over the next few minutes. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar on how to maximize your impact on LinkedIn, hosted by the Department of University Advancement's Alumni Mentors Program. This afternoon's virtual webinar, you will hear from a seasoned professional who will share with us the knowledge and insight he's gained over the years in making LinkedIn work for him and his business. Before we get started, I'd like to go over just a few housekeeping items. My name is Jennifer Gray, and I'm an Alumni Relations Officer in the Department of University Advancement. It's my pleasure to oversee the Alumni Mentors Program throughout the academic year. In addition to our mentorship pairings, our Mentors Program hosts workshops on goal setting, professional development, and practical life skills. Our Mentors Program is supported by hundreds of Carleton alumni who volunteer each year to support our students and recent graduates. Especially in this trying year, we are more grateful for their support than ever. We're also supported by the Carleton University Alumni Association and the Carleton University Students Association. I should also note that today's session will be recorded for the benefit of our Alumni Mentors community members who could not join us here today. Jeff being here today is just one powerful example of the opportunities that can present themselves through LinkedIn. One of our esteemed mentors living on the West Coast in Seattle said to me, "I know a guy. He's a Carleton alum, and he's helped me immensely in harnessing the powers of LinkedIn. Let me introduce you on LinkedIn." An e-introduction on LinkedIn was made. Jeff is as warm and charismatic on Zoom as he comes across in his LinkedIn profile, and he's graciously put together a presentation to share with us today, all the way from Scottsdale, Arizona. Jeff is no stranger to Ottawa, though. He was born and raised here, attended Laurentian High School, and graduated with honors from Carleton's Bachelor of Commerce program in 1976. Xerox recruited Jeff directly off campus in the spring of '76 into their sales and training program. And within 16 months, Jeff had mastered their training to the point where he was able to generate enough of his own commissions to pay his own way to Arizona State University to achieve his MBA and CPA. Jeff was then hired off the ASU campus by the international business and consulting firm Deloitte, Haskins & Sells, where he grew into a business systems expert. In 2003, Jeff became the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer for Peak Potentials Training, working with his lifelong friend, T. Harv Eker. Based in Vancouver, Peak Potentials grew to become one of the world's largest business and success training seminar companies, helping hundreds of thousands of self-employed entrepreneurs launch their own businesses using street smart strategies. Harv's book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, is still on the New York Times bestseller list 18 years later since its release. Today, Jeff has the 2% Club, where he educates and inspires entrepreneurs on how to use those same street smarts to create financial freedom. His passion for leveraging LinkedIn is based on those incredible results he gets daily just from using the platform. Jeff knows that if you just show up and do the basics, you'll find acres of diamonds on LinkedIn. So today's presentation is going to be about 35 to 40 minutes. We'll have time for lots of Q&A at the end. If there's a question that's burning that comes to mind throughout the session, please feel free to post it in our chat group or in the Q&A box, and we'll generate a list for Jeff at the end of our presentation. So that's enough out of me. Without further ado, please allow me to turn our virtual stage over to our wonderful presenter today, Jeff. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome.
Well, thank you for that incredible introduction, Jennifer. I really, truly appreciate it. And thank you so much for inviting me to be able to speak. You know, there's an expression that says 80% of all success is just showing up. So I want to acknowledge all of you guys that are taking time out of your busy schedule to show up, right? And the other thing that I always say in all of my coaching and training sessions is that there are no accidents. So I really, truly don't believe it's an accident that we're all sharing our time here together. And I promise you that if you take some good notes here, you will find the next 40 minutes or so to be incredibly, incredibly invaluable. You know a lot about my background, born and raised in Ottawa. I still have a lot of family in Ottawa. I was fortunate enough to get hired off of campus at ASU into Xerox. And I was much more into sales and marketing. So sales and marketing really allowed me to earn enough money to come down to Arizona State here. And that was 1977, pardon me. So you guys do the math. That's how long I've been down here now doing what I do. Now, just a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today and how I came to this is that when I was working for Deloitte, Haskins & Sells, I began investing in rental real estate in Phoenix, Arizona. And Phoenix was a rapidly growing community, one of the fastest growing cities. And so I was working as an employee, and I was taking my money and I was investing it in real estate. And by 2003, I owned a number of rental properties in the Phoenix area that created what I call passive income. So I own property, I rent these properties, I get income from them, they pay all my bills, and that creates what's called financial freedom. And at that point, back in 2003, when I was 49, I actually retired from the corporate world, and I was looking to earn $1 million a year. And when I did a search on the internet for $1 million ideas, I came across a business called Peak Potentials Training. And to my utter amazement, there was a picture of this guy, T. Harv Eker. And Harv was standing on the stage with Tony Robbins, and the testimonial from Tony Robbins, who, if you don't know who he is, he's probably one of the world's most famous personal development gurus. And he said, if your goal is to be entrepreneurial and financially free quickly, there's nobody on the planet that'll help get you there faster than T. Harv Eker. And so I went to work with Harv, and as a result of it, we built this company called Peak Potentials Training, where we taught entrepreneurs and professionals and small business owners, first across Canada and the United States, and then eventually globally, how to become street smart and use street smart strategies as business owners. So along the way, we certainly taught a lot of people the importance of lead generation, building a business based on having a lot of people that want what you have. And no matter what your aspirations are, whether it's to get a job, whether it's to make more sales, whether it's to find more business associates, everything we're going to talk about today truly is going on LinkedIn. Now, I'm incredibly passionate about LinkedIn because I'll tell you what, I've been self-employed now for over 15 years. And because of the barriers to entry for anybody that is looking for a job, or anybody that's looking to grow their business or start a business, the barriers to entry really don't exist any longer. And so if you are in business or you are looking to build your network, it's becoming more and more challenging to fill up your calendar with high value leads. That's what the goal is to create an amazing Rolodex of professional and business associates that if you were ranking them on a scale of 1 to 10, you have a Rolodex filled of 8s, 9s, and 10s that you're going to find here on LinkedIn. And I'm so grateful to LinkedIn because in the marketplace today, for any entrepreneurial small business owner that wants to build and grow their business or their practice, or, you know, if you're in financial services, your financial services business, doesn't really matter what you want to do. If you're a student, if you want to increase the likelihood that you're going to get offers to get jobs, everything and anything you want in terms of the right people, God bless LinkedIn, because it is beyond a shadow of a doubt the most incredible venue, the most unbelievable platform that you could want. Now, there's a picture of myself with Harv Eker. Harv wrote this book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I would highly encourage every single person watching this to buy and get this book. You can probably buy it on Amazon now for less than $10, I'm sure. But this book was written by this genius Harv, and together, Harv and myself, Harv was the guy teaching, I was the guy growing the company, and together we built this company, Peak Potentials Training, where we truly were able to train ambitious and coachable entrepreneurial people how to become financially free very quickly. Now, this slide is kind of very quickly, there's a book called Cash Flow Quadrants. And the reason I say this is that what I teach mostly to entrepreneurs is that you can see that there are 4 quadrants. There are employees, self-employed people, business owners, and investors. And 5% of the wealth is created by employees and self-employed people, but they represent 95% of all the people out there. And 95% of all the wealth is created by business owners and investors, but they only represent 5% of the people. Now, I've been all four, and I will tell you that if you really want to learn how to stop trading time for money and begin to start leveraging, the B quadrant is the quadrant you want to start thinking about getting into, so that you're not always trading time for money. And if the only way you earn income is in a job, a salary job, or per hour job, or anything where you have a fixed salary, then that's not really the entrepreneurial way to financial success. Fresh leads are like oxygen. If you are Carleton University, if you don't have fresh new students coming in every fall, you have a problem. If you're a nonprofit, if you don't have donors that are giving you money, you have a problem, right? If you're in a business and you don't have leads, you have a problem. 90% of all small business entrepreneurs, guys like you and me and Jen, if we want to go out there into the real world, then the most important thing is to have a system. And of course, I'm a big systems person. I was trained by Deloitte and I was trained by Xerox. And Xerox teaches a system. You must have a system so that you know every single day, just like when you turn on the faucet, water comes out. You have to have a system so that when you do the system, fresh, new, high quality leads are coming out. And the problem that virtually everybody faces is if their goal is at some point in their life to really and truly break off on their own and be able to live their life on their terms. And nowadays with a computer, you could pretty much live anywhere. So if you don't want to be in Ottawa in the wintertime, maybe you could come down here to Arizona, right? But the biggest problem is that everybody faces this syndrome called the empty calendar syndrome. Everybody. And it's a syndrome that's prevalent. It's like a virus. So like 95% of all the people that I meet, when you look at their calendar for the next week, 2, 3, and you see how many scheduled appointments they have with high value prospects, it's pathetic. And if you're coming from a place where you don't know how to build your network, you don't know how to meet new people, and especially during a pandemic, it's more and more difficult to meet new people personally, you're going to have a huge problem. The beautiful thing about LinkedIn is that once you master the skill of LinkedIn, you will never suffer from the empty calendar syndrome. You will always have more people to talk to than you have time in the day to talk to them. And not just people that are wasting their time, but high value people. Now, the thing is that most people avoid doing what they're not good at and what they don't like. But if you really want, if you're serious about growing your career, if you're serious about growing a business, if you're serious about landing the job of your dreams, if you're serious about any of that stuff, it is urgent and important that you are prospecting every single day. Now, here's this house on fire. It is urgent and important that something be done about it, but most people are like this guy mowing the lawn. I call him the avoider. And in business, what I'm talking about is the person that will spend all day reading reports and doing stuff on social media, and taking long lunch hours and doing everything and anything but what is urgent and important. And they spend 80% of their day on non-essential, non-revenue generating activities. And what I like to suggest to all of my clients, and I'd like to suggest to you, is you flip it around so that 80% of your time is spent taking care of what's urgent and important. And the greatest skill you can acquire in your life is the ability to fill up your calendar with high value leads. Now, Fortune and Forbes magazines are considered two of the most reputable publications on the planet. They've written so many glowing articles about why, if your goal includes career success or business success, you would be like brain dead not to be on LinkedIn. And it's not just Fortune and Forbes magazine, my friends. Wall Street Journal, Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, they all say the exact same thing. If you're serious about growing your career, if you're serious about growing your business, about growing your wealth, about growing your network, the one and only network to be on is, guess where? LinkedIn. Now, you know, there's this thing called tap into the gold mine that is LinkedIn. And in my introduction, you know, Jennifer mentioned the fact that she mentioned something about the acres of diamonds. And real quickly, I want to tell you guys, there's a story called Acres of Diamonds. And in the story of Acres of Diamonds, by the way, you can Google it and read the book. But the essence of the story is there was a very poor farmer in South Africa who heard tales about fortunes being made virtually instantaneously when people were finding diamonds. And there were diamonds evidently all over South Africa. And these people that would find them were becoming instantly wealthy. And so this poor farmer decided that he was going to sell his farm and go and search for diamonds so he could create his wealth. And so he sold his farm and he spent the rest of his life searching for diamonds. He never found them and he died a poor man. But in the meantime, the farmer who had purchased the farm from the original farmer one day was walking along the property and there was a stream that ran through the property. And he noticed that there was a rock in the stream that as the sun shone on it, it was glistening. And he walked over to that rock and he picked it up and he took it into town, and it was discovered to be one of the world's largest black diamonds ever. And it was priceless. And in fact, the entire farm was literally covered with acres of diamonds. And if the first farmer had simply taken the time to investigate and learn what diamonds look like in their rough state, he would have realized that he was sitting on his own acres of diamonds. He just didn't recognize it. And what I want to share with all of you guys is that if you're on LinkedIn, you are already sitting on your own acres of diamonds. You don't need to go anywhere else to build the career you want, to build the Rolodex of network of associates that you want, to build your business any way you want with the quality of people that you want. If you are a novice to LinkedIn, if you've been in LinkedIn for a while, or if you've been a veteran like me, if your goal is to have huge success in your career or your business, there's only one platform that you need to invest your time on. Guess which platform it is? Of course, it's LinkedIn. Real quickly, some statistics about LinkedIn. There's over 740 million people on LinkedIn, and every second 2 new people join. And when it comes to education level, when it comes to net worth, when it comes to income level, when it comes to expertise level, I'm telling you that there is no platform quite like LinkedIn, none. And so once I realized that I would never have to go anywhere else, once I learned how to mine LinkedIn to have the most amazing business that I'd ever want, then I was set, and I'm so grateful to LinkedIn. And I really hope by the time we're done, you're as sold on LinkedIn as I am. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, LinkedIn was actually purchased by Microsoft and Bill Gates back in 2016 for $26.2 billion. And back in 2016, there were only 450 million users. So it's grown by almost 300 million users in the last 5 years. So you can see how quickly it's growing. And according to the math, the accountants, the CPAs that were involved in this transaction calculated that the average value of a LinkedIn member was $58.20. So you do the math. If you have 100 connections on LinkedIn, the net worth is $5,820. You have an intangible asset called LinkedIn connections worth $5,820. If you could get to 1,000 connections, you now have an intangible asset worth $58,200. And if you have 10,000 connections, and by the way, I know lots and lots of people that have well over that, They have an intangible asset called LinkedIn connections of $582,000. Now, that's only true if you actually know what to do with those people, right? Because if you have those connections and you don't know what to do with them, they're not worth anything to you. The most important thing I teach everybody that wants to become successful in business is do not get into fads. Fads are here today, they're gone tomorrow. LinkedIn is now like 18 years old. It's a cash cow. Bill Gates says it's one of the best investments he's ever made in his entire life. All the Fortune 500, all the Fortune 5,000 C-level executives, they're all on LinkedIn. All the thought leaders are on LinkedIn. All the marketing pros are on LinkedIn. All the top entrepreneurs are on LinkedIn. They're all on LinkedIn. LinkedIn isn't going anywhere. So if LinkedIn isn't going anywhere, and it is the gorilla when it comes to business networking, it's the gorilla. There's really no other platform quite like it. And if your goal is to create an invaluable, a priceless Rolodex of connections, when would be the best time for you to start getting involved in LinkedIn? And I would say right now, by far. Now, the great thing about LinkedIn is that it is so darn simple. You don't need a website. You don't need landing pages. You don't need marketing funnels. You don't need email campaigns. You don't need CRMs. You don't need to be techy. In fact, everything I'm going to show you today, you can do with a free account. So it's so darn easy. But the thing is, 99% of all the people on LinkedIn are totally clueless about LinkedIn. I know because I'm dealing with them all day long. Even people that pay to be premium members, they know they need to be on LinkedIn, but they have no clue how to leverage the power of LinkedIn to create wealth and abundance in their own life. So what do you want? Do you want any of these things? Do you want new business? Do you want clients? Do you want leads? Do you want revenue? Do you want growth? If you're looking for a job, do you want more opportunities? And if you want any of all of these things, guess the only place you need to be to get it all. And it's called LinkedIn. And the secret is obviously to learn a system, just some strategies and some scripts. And once you learn some strategies and some scripts and how to set up your profile properly, you're good to go. So really important. If you're going to do anything on LinkedIn, especially if you're going to be business related, how do you pick out your niche on LinkedIn? If you can't get them results, don't waste their time or your time. If you can't find them on LinkedIn, then LinkedIn is not the platform for you. They have to need or want what you got. They have to be able to pay you, otherwise they're not really a qualified prospect. They need to be easy to work with. You know, I'm older probably than anybody on this training. And I will tell you that after being I've been in business pretty much my whole life, that you do not want to work with people that are unpleasant to work with. You don't. And when you work the way I work, and you get to pick and choose who you're working with, you only work with people that you want to work with. And finally, are they the decision maker? You don't want to invest a lot of time with people and then they say, well, I got to talk to my wife, my partner, my board, my investors. You always want to make sure that, can you reach those people on LinkedIn? And obviously, if you think about it, absolutely. And finally, the last one is, are they ready to take action right now? They might be a good person to network with, but if you know that they're not ready to do what you can help them with for 6 months, then you just kind of put that, I call that in your tickler file, and you stay in touch with them until they're ready. But primarily, I'm looking for people that are saying, yeah, I want to work with you and I want to work with you right now. Who can we target on LinkedIn? Look at this list, my friends. This should blow your mind. If you are looking for a job, look at the kinds of people that you can network with and connect with and build relationships, and they may be able to open up the door for you, because it's always built on relationships, my friend. The same thing is true in business. I can reach out to CEOs all day long. You would be amazed how many CEOs will respond if I do it the right way. Or any other niche that I want to go after, or any other niche that you want to go after, they're all on LinkedIn. And for free. This is for free. LinkedIn gives you all these filters so that you can search for all these different things. Once you learn how to search, it's like it'll totally and completely blow your mind. You know, a couple of days ago, I said, geez, I wonder who I'm not connected to. In other words, there's second level connections to me. I'm connected to somebody who's connected to somebody who said they went to Carleton University. And I found out that there are 728 people that are second level connections to me that went to Carleton University. So if I decided that I really wanted to start connecting with all of my fellow Carleton grads, I could send them a quick message, click on the connect button, send them a quick message, and here are 728 people. Now, what's the likelihood that some of these Carleton alums are also connected to other Carleton alums? And now when I connect to them, now all the people that they're connected to in Carleton, I can now reach out to them again. So it kind of grows exponentially, which is why LinkedIn is so incredibly amazing. Because if you connect with 10 people, you've probably connected with 1,000 people, because you're not just connecting with the person, you're connecting with everybody that that person is connected to. I hope this makes sense to you guys. You can see I really like to work with CEOs. And so you can see I did a search here. These are people I do not know. They know people that I do know, but these are called second level connections that live in the greater Phoenix area that have CEO as their title. And there's about 7,700 people in the Phoenix area that I'm not connected to that are CEOs that I could be reaching out to, connecting with, and inviting to see if there may be some ways we might give some value to each other. 7,700 people. How long would it take for you to actually reach out to 7,700 people? Now, before we get into the last part of our training, I want to very, very quickly tell you, as a trained eye, what I look at when I look at a profile to see whether or not it's worth my time to invest in them. Because I want to be investing my time with level 9s and level 10 players. And I hope that you want to invest your time with not level 1s, 2s, and 3s, but levels 8s, 9s, and 10s, right? I want to work with the very, very best, and I want to present myself as the very, very best. Well, the first thing you see when you go to anybody's profile is what's called their banner. And you can see my banner. There's a picture when it says educating and assisting entrepreneurs reach their full financial potential, and also the picture. Now, that's the first thing everybody sees when they go to anybody's profile. So is it important to make sure that this prime piece of real estate, your picture, people can see the smile on your face, the whites of your eyes, you look like a friendly person, and the banner isn't just wasted space. So I'm looking to see, did this person even take the time to put up a good picture and put any thought into their banner? Then I look to see, do you see this brown in? That means they're a premium member, which means that they're actually investing money on LinkedIn. They're paying money to LinkedIn every single month to be involved with LinkedIn. To me, that's ultra important, because the only people I ever really reach out to are what's called premium members. So if they don't have this brown in, I'm not even going to invest my time with them. And there are a million reasons why. And I've proven over time that my theory actually works. Then the next thing I do is I look at what's called their title. And the title is very important because it should tell you a lot about who this person is, who they help, what they do. And the title is also very important because you'll see, as I share some other ideas with you, it kind of follows you around like your tagline. So then the next thing I do is I say, well, do they have at least 500 connections? Because if I don't see they have at least 500 connections, in my opinion, they're not using LinkedIn. This is just something they do a little bit of the time. They're not a player. They're not resonating on the same vibration I am. I'm looking for people that are seriously using LinkedIn. Now, you have on your LinkedIn profile your own dashboard. And the reason I'm showing you my dashboard is you want to check and see if you have what's called an all-star status. That's your goal, to become an all-star. And when you become an all-star, that's when you pretty much have filled in all of the information in all of the sections. The other thing you want to do is you want to see how many people are checking you out. This is over 3 months. So basically, I get in 3 months I'm basically getting, I have 1,065 people that have viewed my profile, and I wrote an article a day or two ago, and I have 104 people that have read it. And this week, 243 people typed in entrepreneur or LinkedIn training or business coach or CEO, and my name came up in the search. And you want to check your dashboard constantly, and there are ways to grow all these numbers. And as you grow these numbers, you grow your business. Trust me on this. So there's a section in your profile that says activity. I always quickly scan, because right under the word activity, it'll tell me how many actual followers that person has. And what's interesting is I'm gonna show you what that means here in just a second. If you click on this blue number, it says 6,851 followers. But I also click on this thing that says see all activity, because in 30 seconds I can see if this person is posting on LinkedIn, if they're commenting on LinkedIn, if they're writing articles on LinkedIn, if they're doing anything on LinkedIn. But the first thing I do is I want to show you what happens, and it's very important you know this. When you click on your followers, the 6,851, which is right underneath your activity, and you click on it, you get a page that looks like this. And this is the only place on LinkedIn where you can see how many followers your followers have. So for example, here's this guy, Jason White. He has 30,400 followers. Here's this lady, Alberta. She has 6,600 followers. Here's this business called Egypt Landmark. They have 13,600 followers. Here's this guy, Ram, and he's got 31,900 followers. Here's this guy, Dave. He's got 14,500 followers. Now, for what I do, for me to build a relationship with someone who has 30,000 followers on LinkedIn, my suspicion is there's a huge opportunity for us to create some kind of a joint venture partnership, because he has a lot of followers and I know a lot about LinkedIn, and all of his followers are on LinkedIn. Together, we might be able to do something. Regardless, would you like to start building relationships with people that have 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 followers, especially if you have a skill set that could be of value to those people, or you have a product or a service that could be of value to those people? That's why in this day and age, you could sit at your home computer, do this all day long like I do, and make incredible amounts of money, or go to Bora Bora, do the same darn thing, as long as you have access to the internet. Now, if you click on all activity, you will come to a page that looks like this. It says Jeff's activity. You could click on all activity. You could click to see what articles I've written. You could click to see what posts I've written. You could see what documents I've written. And when I'm looking to build my network, I quickly go into their activity and I look at all this stuff. And when I'm writing comments, I will take 20 minutes every day and I'll go through everybody's posts. And if I see a post from a person that I want to build my relationship with, I will like. You can see I click the like button here, but I will also write a comment, and I'll write very cool Greg, and I'll tag Greg. And if I tag Greg, he immediately gets a notification that says, hey, Jeff Fagan tagged you. Jeff Fagan tagged you in your comment. And on top of it, all the other people, this guy, his name is Greg Reed. He's a very well-known writer, author, speaker, entrepreneur. And all the other people, if they look at his post, they're going to see my picture, my name, and my tagline. And I'm doing this all over LinkedIn all the time. People are seeing my picture, they're seeing my name. I get invitations to connect with people. They said, hey, I saw your comment on such and such as, post, and would love to connect with you. So if you begin to do this and you start tagging people, and it's very easy to do, and there's probably like a 2-minute video on YouTube that says, how do you tag on LinkedIn, right? It's very, very simple. Okay, but in deference of time, I want to be very sensitive. I want to finish up here. The next thing is Skills and endorsements. If someone doesn't know you, you want to make sure that if they're checking you out, the magic number is 99 plus. So if you go to my profile and you don't know me, and I invited you to connect, and you're going through my profile and you see, oh, what are his skills? He says he's a LinkedIn trainer, and 99 plus have endorsed him for that. He says he's really strong in entrepreneurship, and 99 plus people endorse him for that. He says he's into coaching, and 99 people have endorsed him for that. Well, if you'd seen 3, 2, and 1 instead of 99 plus, you might think differently. And most people have 12, 5, 3, 22. You should have 99 plus. And it's not that hard to do. So that it's called social proof. And LinkedIn is the only platform that allows us social proof. Now, recommendations is the last thing here. Recommendations, it's all about when someone comes to my profile and if they see I've received 169 recommendations and I've given 134, and my most recent one was just a couple of weeks ago, I've already branded myself exactly who I am and what I want. Now, real quickly, because I want to wrap this up, I apologize for running a little bit longer than I anticipated, but you're going to learn real quickly 3 steps that you can do, the biggest mistakes everybody makes, and you can copy and paste. Here are the 3 steps. Number 1 is learn how to connect with people. And by the way, learning how to connect is super easy. Number 2 is after you've connected with them, learn how to build rapport quickly, learn how to message to them the right way, and learn how to get them off the platform and onto a Zoom meeting or a phone call so you can step into number 3, which is monetize. Messaging strategies. Keep the messages short. Too many people, their messages are way too long. Number 2 is don't make them overly salesy. Too many people make their messages way too salesy. And don't make it all about yourself. I have 2 websites. I've won 3 awards. I've written 3 huge articles. I've done this, I've done that. Do not do any of that stuff. Keep it short, keep it non-salesy, and as much as possible, bring value to the table. So here's an example. Here's one that I think every single one of you could do. I saw your profile, noticed you're a fellow Carleton University alum. It's always great to connect with fellow alums who are active here on LinkedIn and making a difference. Please accept my invitation to connect. Cheers, Jeff. And I'll bet if I begin sending this out to everybody and anybody that I can find as a Carleton alum, especially if they're premium members, I know I'll get 40 to 50%. So it's so simple, right? I mean, is this long? No. Is it salesy? No. I'm giving them a reason. Hey, you're active here on LinkedIn. You're a Carleton University alum. I love to network with you. It'd love to be great to connect with you. Done. And then once they've connected, you send them something like this. Thanks for connecting on your LinkedIn. I find your profile very interesting. Would you be open to a virtual cup of coffee in order to get to know each other and see if there's any synergy? I'm a great connector and I have a large network, and I promise to keep our call in the no sales zone. Please let me know and we can set something up. You can use this link or give me your availability. Either way works for me. I give them my Calendly. All the best, Jeff. And people go to my profile, and if they like what they see, they're on my calendar. It's just that simple, honestly. And then when it comes to monetizing, again, I want to be very sensitive for time, but lead generation, finding those high value prospects, you're going to find them on LinkedIn, but once you find them, you still have to take them through a process, right? So you have to learn how to be able to establish rapport and trust very quickly. You have to be able to learn how to pre-qualify and ask questions the right way so you can see whether or not there are opportunities to collaborate together, to find win-win opportunities there. If they're the right prospect, after you know how to ask questions, you have to be able to give a great presentation. And by the way, in order to become hugely successful in business, you know how many great presentations you need to have? 1. And just keep giving it over and over and over to the right people. You can get rich very quickly. Once you do that, you have to know how to answer people's questions. That's called objection handling. And so if you learn how to get good at it, it makes a big difference. Finally, the last two steps are learning how to actually close, which means asking for the business and becoming really good at it. And again, all of these things are very learnable. And the last thing is, how do you get repeat business and referral business? So it's monetizing, right? It's taking someone that's a really great prospect that you met on LinkedIn, and now you're going to add value all along the way until you're getting their repeat business and their referral business. Now, the goal is 2, 10, 40. And what I do with all of my clients is, how can I help you get 2 high value prospects on your calendar every single day, 5 days a week? So if you got 2 high value prospects on your calendar, that would be 10 in a week, that would be 40 in a month. And if you could stack 2 or 3 or 4 months and build some momentum, your business would absolutely go through the roof. Now, one of the last things I want to show you is, I gave myself a little test between February the 6th, the middle of February to the middle of April. And what I did was, I reached out to, if you look here at this bottom, this is a software I use called Octopus. But if you look at this bottom corner, it says connection request sent. So I invited over 60 days, about 50 people a day. So 2,615 premium LinkedIn owners that were CEOs, entrepreneurs, director of sales and marketing, all kinds of professionals. And I said, would you, I would love to connect with you. And these are total strangers, and 50 a day, total strangers, and 1,097 of them connected with me. So 42% of all these people on LinkedIn that I don't know, that are premium members, they're paying to be on LinkedIn. Most of them are professionals. Most of them are highly educated. Most of them have high incomes. Many of them, all of them are involved on LinkedIn. So if you had 1,097 new prospects over the last 2 months, what could you do with them? And I'm telling you, it's like turning on and off a faucet. So LinkedIn, I'm telling you guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. LinkedIn is beyond a shadow of a doubt the one and only place you ever want to be if your goal is to build your career, build your business, build your Rolodex with really super, super high value, high quality people. And I thank you guys for hanging in there with me. I barely scratched the surface of what the opportunities are using LinkedIn. But if you're at all entrepreneurial, if you'd ever want to actually take full, complete control of your life and be able to work from anywhere in the world at any hour of day or night, once you learn how to market using LinkedIn, it's all digital these days. And really, the pandemic, the message is out. You got to be on LinkedIn. It's the best way to connect. So with that being said, I thank you again so much for your time. You guys really have been awesome. And at this point, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I know that I was furiously taking notes and looking at my LinkedIn profile because I've got a lot of homework this weekend to do. But really great practical advice that I think that, intuitively we know we should be doing some of these things on LinkedIn to advance ourselves in terms of network building and sourcing potential leads for opportunity, but it's something that we really need to hone in on and make time for each day. So we do have a few questions for you. Some of them were in the chat and the Q&A. The first one is from one of our mentees in the program who's asking, sorry, let me just pull it up here. She was asking about receiving a connection request that mentions Carlton, but she's not familiar with them. Should she still accept?
There are many, it depends. There's no right or wrong answer. I think that's a great question. For me, I really, as I mentioned throughout the whole presentation, I with the rarest of occasions, unless they're like a client of mine or someone that there's a reason to connect with them. If it's a stranger and they're not a premium member, I generally tend not to accept. But for example, if I was thinking of a project where I want to involve as many Carleton University alums as possible, yeah, I'm going to accept that person's connection request because I'm hoping that person's connected to about 30 or 40 other Carleton University alums that I'm not connected to. And now I'll get to start connecting with more and more Carleton alums. So it depends. It depends for many, many reasons. Maybe you'll look at their profile and they wrote a book about something you're really interested in, or they just won an award in something that you're very passionate about, or they volunteer in a group that happens to be the same thing that you're interested in. So there are multiple reasons. And the great thing about LinkedIn profile, unlike Facebook or Twitter or anything else, is that you can list on your profile your awards, your accomplishments, your volunteer work, everything. And that way you can find the people when they reach out to you. Okay, they went to Carleton, but what else do you guys have in common? If there's nothing else in common and you don't know them, big deal. But if they still live in Ottawa and you live in Ottawa and they went to Carleton and they graduated from the same program you did, and you have 17 people in common that you're connected with, who knows? Maybe they'll just be a person that you meet once a month to go play golf with or something. So it depends on the individual. Some people are very introverted. I'm the opposite. I love to meet people. But what I found is I only have so many hours in a day, so I want to be very specific about the kind of person I want to meet. And for you, for every person, it's going to be different.
Perfect, thank you. Another question about recommendations. You'd spoken about recommendations. Do you have a sort of a baseline of how many recommendations would be beneficial to have on LinkedIn? And also, if you don't have a lot of work experience, can you ask peers, fellow students that you've collaborated with on school projects, or should it really be someone that you directly worked for, a supervisor, manager, someone who had oversight?
Great question. I appreciate that. Certainly, depending on where you are in your career, it's going to be different. Jen, if I'm not mistaken, and I'd like to actually talk to you offline, that we have a Carleton University student that's 3,000 followers, right? So I would like to see his profile because he probably has a bunch of recommendations. Look, if you've had summer jobs, if you worked at the university in some capacity, if you've had professors that you've had great relationships with, any and all of those people, when you're beginning, they all help. Because if I'm looking at someone that says, hey, Jeff, I'm a marketing expert, let's connect and let's see how we can collaborate together. And they go to their profile and they see they've been the marketing director for this company now for 8 years. And they have 3 recommendations, and the last one was 6 years ago. What do you think I'm going to think about that person? Whereas if you come to mine and you see 169 recommendations, and the last one was a week ago, and the one before that was 2 weeks ago, and the one before that was a month ago, and you could keep going back, and I just keep getting them all the time, that's a whole different story. So at the beginning, I don't really honestly seriously pay attention to somebody who doesn't have at least 20 recommendations. If you can get 20 people to write something nice about you, then in my books, I say, okay, well, this person is kind of crossed the threshold. Most people don't have 10 close friends that they can just say, hey, write something for me, right? So if you can get up to 20, great. But then I'm looking for how many of them are current. So in other words, are you constantly every month or two getting a new recommendation? I'm getting new recommendations every single week. I already have 169. It doesn't matter. A recommendation is so important to you guys because it's called social proof. And you want to get as much social proof as possible because you can tell the world how great you are. That's not nearly as persuasive as when the rest of the world is telling everybody how great you are.
So another question that kind of leads into this, how much time would you dedicate to LinkedIn either each day or each week in order to make this sort of impact? Is this an hour a day? Is it just habitual? Is it something that you practice throughout the day? Can you give us some insight even into sort of your day-to-day, how much time you spend on LinkedIn?
Okay. I think I probably, at this point, I probably spend about 90 to 120 minutes on LinkedIn every day. And that's only because I have software and automated systems where I can push a button and the system will go out and visit 50 people's profiles for me. So I can be, because the goal of LinkedIn is to create a daily system so that you're reaching out to people every day. You've improved your profile so that because the goal is, how many people can I get on LinkedIn to visit my profile? And if they like what they see on my profile, chances are they will be open to connecting with me and even meeting with me. So the most important thing is to know who do you want to be, who's your message for? And then you build your whole profile based on who your message for. So my message is for entrepreneurs that want to be able to take control of their lives and become financially free in 18 to 36 months. So my profile reeks of that. If that's not what you're interested, then you're not going to want to spend your time with me, which is perfectly okay, because you're not the right person for me. So at the beginning, I would spend 6, 7, 8 hours a day on LinkedIn. Now I want to spend a couple of hours on LinkedIn, but 6 hours at an hour a time with a prospect. When they say, yes, I just made $3,000 or $5,000, and I got them all stacked up. And every day I'm talking to 3, 4, 5 people, and every day, do I want to spend time on LinkedIn, or do I want to spend time talking to the people? You have to do a little bit of one in order to be able to get the other. But if once you get good at it, there isn't a person watching this right now that by the end of this year couldn't have a system in place where they have 2, 10, 40, 2 high value leads to talk to every single day, 10 in a week, 40 in a month. And if you had something to offer them where you're making $1,000 or $2,000 every time they say yes, that can turn into some really good money. And after a while, you learn how to leverage other products and other opportunities. Sky's the limit.
Wow. Thank you, Jeff. We have a few more questions we want to get to. Just someone would like to know, what is your opinion on auto messages that people have set up that get sent as soon as they accept your connection request? What do you think about that?
First of all, thank you so much for asking that question, because I have this discussion every single day with almost all of my coaching clients. I can't stand it when I accept somebody's connection and boom, it says, here's my calendar, let's find a time, let's get together, here's what I do. I can't stand that. There's a secret, my friends. The world has become very high tech. You want to stand out, you have to blend in high touch. And when you blend, and the key is knowing when to blend the high tech with the high touch, that's when the magic happens. Once somebody accepts your request, I don't automate anything. From that point on, I'm going to go in. They said, yes, Jeff, thank you. Or they might just click accept. They don't even write back, thank you for inviting me, or I'm happy to connect. I don't care. I'll go into their profile and I teach exactly what I do. But when I write them back, and usually it's within 24 hours. So if they accept, because usually I send out my invitations in the morning. And almost immediately, because most everybody I'm inviting are premium members, they're on, so they accept in the morning. And usually about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, most of the people have accepted. And then I'll take maybe an hour and I'll spend 2 or 3 minutes at each person's, and I'll read their profile and I'll say, would I even really want to spend 30 minutes on the phone with this person? They might have met my original criteria, but now I really want to narrow it down. My time is valuable. But if I see they have 20,000 followers and they're active on LinkedIn, I might well say, yes, I absolutely positively want to. So that's where I'm going to write a very personalized message. Hey, Stephanie, congratulations for your position at Carleton University. At one time, it was a position I actually wanted, and I'll bet you're loving it. There's no way that's an automated message, right? You know, I had to take the time. I saw your profile, and by the way, Joan Smith, that recommendation she gave you was outstanding. Obviously, she really loves you. Hey, I would love to spend 30 minutes on a virtual Zoom coffee with you and get to know you a little bit better. I have a huge network of connections I could introduce you to, or see if there's some other ways we might be able to help each other. If you're open, here's my calendar, or just let me know sometime. So that's pretty much what I do.
So personalization is key. And I think that resonates with a lot of us who, in terms of making an impact, it's nice to make it the most meaningful.
If the really smart ones learn how to blend high tech with high touch. There's a time to use high tech and leverage the software that's out there today. Most people don't even know how much work the software can do for us, but it can only take it to a certain point. If the goal is to build a relationship, at some point you personally have to step in and take over from the high tech and begin to personalize everything. And until they make software that you can really personalize it to the extent that I do, I'd rather just invest the time and just do it myself.
That's terrific. Now, what time is the best time to send an invite to someone to connect? Should it be working hours, after hours? Should it be working hours or after hours?
Great question. I guess it depends on a lot of factors. My daily routine is I usually send out first of all, I only send out invitations to premium members. And premium members tend to be on LinkedIn all day, every day. They'll have that tab open. You guys know what I mean. So I typically, like if you were to see the way things time, if at 8 o'clock I visit, I always visit before I go and invite, because as soon as I visit someone, since they're a premium member, they get a notification. Hey, Jeff Fagan just visited your profile. So in an hour later, when I say, hey, I saw your profile and I see that you're a Carleton University alum, they already got a notification that I visited their site. So at 8:30, maybe I'm going to send out 50 invitations, and they send out the invitations, I don't know, one every minute or one every minute and a half. So it takes about an hour. And usually within 10 minutes after the automated message to invite happens, I'm already getting people like at 8:45, 8:50. By 10 o'clock, I'd say over half the people that are going to accept have accepted. Now, the thing is, I'm on West Coast time, so some of the people I'm inviting are back east. So it's, when it's 8 o'clock here, it's 11 o'clock there. But some of the people are here on West Coast too. So, you know what? It just depends on who you're going after, and if you use the strategies that I use, which is really to go after the premium members, it doesn't really matter because they're on all the time, and one of the reasons they're paying to be on LinkedIn is to connect.
Okay, so Jeff, just to be cognizant of time, it's just approaching over 1 o'clock. So we have one more question. How do you ask for recommendations on LinkedIn without sounding too greedy? So if you ask someone for a recommendation, is there something that you should, and I'm just adding on to this question, but is there something you should maybe offer in return? What's the give and take of the recommendations? Again,
that's a great question. And as you're probably not surprised, I follow a very specific strategy. This is all, the questions that we're hearing here tonight are really excellent, and they've been well thought through. So here's the solution that I teach to all of my clients. Number one is people are very, very reluctant to ask for recommendations. Somehow they feel that there's just not something right about it. Somehow I've gotten 169 recommendations, so I got over that BS story that I had been telling myself my whole life, and everybody probably on this show or on this program, they've been telling themselves. There's absolutely nothing wrong with asking for a recommendation if you do it the proper way. So what I do is I teach you, like, let's say you wanted let's say, for example, Jen, you wanted a recommendation from Jeff. I would say, you're going to go to my profile and you're going to scroll down to the recommendation area, and there's something you can click that says ask for a recommendation, and you're going to click on it and you're going to say how we're related, and then when it gets to a form that says, hey Jeff, would you please give me a recommendation, you're going to wipe that out and you're going to type in, hi Jeff, I'm working on improving my LinkedIn profile, and I'm really hoping you'd be willing to help me out with a favor of a recommendation. And of course, I'm only happy to reciprocate and do the same for you in return. It would really mean a lot. In case you're really busy or you're not quite sure what to write, I took the liberty of writing a draft that you're welcome to edit, or you can write your own. And then you give them like a 3-sentence. Since knowing Jennifer, I've come to learn so much about alumni relations. She does a fantastic job of communicating with the association and is a true professional at everything she does. And the best part of working with Jennifer is she's heartfelt in everything that she's involved in. If you ever have the chance to work with Jennifer, don't hesitate. And then you say, thank you very much. Please send me a draft of something I could write for you, and I'll gladly edit it and put it on your profile. Best wishes, Jeff. And that's what you do. And you do them all day long. And some will and some won't. And you know what? I don't care. Because I'm going to ask 30, 40, 50 people, and 50% of them will. And the other 50%, they're too busy, they don't have time, they don't know what to say. So if you just keep asking and you give them a draft of what to write, and 99 times out of 100, they'll just say, wow, Jen, that was great, copy and paste. So that's the strategy.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeff. I feel like you're helping us all enable our confidence on LinkedIn, which is more than we could ask for today for our Lunch and Learn webinar. I just want to be cognizant of time because certain folks probably have meetings, virtual meetings to get to this afternoon. But thank you so much, Jeff, for being willing to join us. I know it's a bit earlier in the morning for you, closer to the West Coast, so thank you. For joining us bright and early and for this wonderful workshop. I'm sure we could spend hours with you. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So we hope that you'll join us again next year for a workshop and speak to our community again. It was really terrific. So thank you as well to all of our attendees for tuning in. We hope the session was useful. We'll look forward to providing the link to the recording. It'll be posted on our Alumni Mentors Program events page for 30 days following the presentation. And we look forward to being in touch again soon. So I hope everyone stays safe and takes care. We're still in a lockdown here in Canada or in Ontario. Sorry, Jeff. So many of us are at home and working remotely. And so hopefully brighter days ahead, and we'll look forward to reuniting again. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us.
Thanks again, everybody. And thank you so much, Jennifer.
We really appreciate it. This was really wonderful to invite you here to speak to our audience today. So thank you.
You bet.
The community appreciates it very much. So thank you.
Thank you.